There's a stat on the PGA Tour ShotLink system called approach putt performance, which is essentially a measure of the average distance remaining after a player plays their first putt, when that first putt's not holed, of course. The best on tour averages 2 feet, where out of 190 players, the worst in this stat is 2.7 feet from the hole. They average a tap in. They're all very good is the lesson, and we can be too. All we need is an understanding of the 3 principles of good putting touch and a way to develop them, and then finally a way to train your touch. Let's dive right in. So let's eliminate those round wreckers that are taking 3 or more putts when you're on the green. Good distance control is built on a foundation of 3 form concepts that I will unpack. And then finally, developing those form concepts, we have to turn them into training good touch, which I'll give you 2 training exercises for that. So let's dive right into the form concepts. Form concept number 1 is range of motion. Elite level putters fall within a certain motion range, a distance they take the putter back for a distance they take the putter through. We're going to unpack that one. The second one is they have a certain acceleration to the putter, get it moving going back, and a certain acceleration to the putter moving through, and they fall within a certain range. So we'll call that kind of acceleration into club head speed profile. We'll unpack that one. And then lastly, they make contact out of the center of the face every time. That's just not the horizontal center, but also the vertical center, and we'll talk through that one. So let's dive right into the foundational element, which is range of motion. You see on the ground here, I've got a ruler with colored tape on it. That colored tape gives me a reference from center, the 24-inch mark on this 48-inch ruler, for symmetry in stroke, in range of motion. Mistakes are made when a couple of things happen. When our range of motion isn't proportionate or close to proportionate. So true perfect proportions would be 50% of backswing range for 50% of follow-through range. There are some players, elite putters, who do exactly that. There are also some elite putters who swing it back 40 and take it through 60. So that ratio is 40% of the range. Total range of motion is backswing motion, 60% follow-through. There are also some elite putters who fall into a 60% for 40% range of motion ratio. So you can be somewhere around 50-50, you can be tipping to 60-40 or 40-60. You could even be pushing to 30-70. The principle here is you've got to pick some level of symmetry, stroke to stroke to stroke. So what I'm going to suggest is get maybe an alignment rod like I've got sitting in front of me, and then mark the center line, and then distribute every 4 inches marks along that alignment rod that'll allow you to use it like my colored ruler, or just use a colored ruler and lay it down in front of you and develop some sensitivity to the range of motion in each and every stroke, and then the change in range of motion for a subsequent longer distance. So out in front of me, I've got fake cups set at 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50 feet. And so now the experience as I'm working range of motion is I want to swing and see how much range it takes me to roll it to or just past that 10-foot mark or 10-foot cup. That clearly wasn't enough. I tried to keep it tight or just inside the boundaries of the orange tape. So I need a little bit more range of motion, but I did move it 50-50. There's orange tape to orange tape. It's a relatively straight putt with a little bit of a downhill slope to it. So no orange, which is essentially 8 inches travel to 8 inches travel, is going to give me about a 10-foot roll on today's stimp. Now I'm going to go to 20. There's blue to blue. That's going to get on down almost all the way. Yep, I would call that all the way to 20. So now I have an understanding that a 12-inch motion, 12-inch symmetrical motion gives me 20 feet. You guessed it, I'm going to go yellow to yellow. Yellow to yellow. Looks like it's going to travel 230 or just a little bit beyond it. Now I felt that time, which picks up on our next concept, which I'm about to unpack, a little bit more acceleration, a little bit more hit coming through. And that's what contributed, not the increase in range of motion, that's what contributed to that ball traveling about 38 feet. Let's advance regardless. Now we're going to go green to green. There's a smooth rate of acceleration. So that one should stop somewhere around 40. Yes, indeed. Very good. So we've got to build from foundation number one, which is making sure that our range of motion, pick one, 50-50, 60-40, 40-60, or even the outer boundaries of that become a little bit more risky, because as you go 30-70, you'll encourage more acceleration on the forward side. But there are examples of elite level putters that do that. And then train the consistency. So rather than like I did, hitting one putt to each cone, what I want you to do is I want you to hit multiple putts to one cone. And we're going to pick up on what that exercise is on the back end of this video. It's called cluster sets. But let's jump into concept number two, which is acceleration and speed. So acceleration creates a speed, right? Your car is sitting at the traffic light and it's not going to move forward unless you hit the gas, right? And the harder you hit the gas, the more it accelerates. In putting, we want to be on the smoother side of acceleration, except in one phase of the stroke. If we're accelerating more in one phase of the stroke, we actually want the acceleration to be on the backswing. So an easy way to feel that. I'm going to go with an assumption that you have a putter similar to mine that has a little shelf at the back edge of it. We're going to take a small coin and I'm going to put it on the very back edge of that shelf. On the backswing, I want you to be able to see that your coin accelerates or travels towards the face. As it travels towards the face, you have acceleration in a backswing direction, and then I want you to cruise forward so the coin doesn't fall off. So we move the coin to the back shelf, the back edge of that shelf, and then we accelerate. I'm going to go the 20-foot putt. There's the acceleration back. There's the cruise through where the coin did not fall off until I decided to let it fall off. And then we're going to take this into a live fire exercise. We've got the coin on the very back edge of the shelf. Come on, coin, behave. There we go. I'm going to accelerate back, go to blue. There it is. Cruise on through. Passes the 10, rolls on down there, tight to that same distance of 20, maybe 22 feet past. So we can unpack what these things look like from a very scientific level, but understand this, I'm not here to do this. I'm only here to equip you with the most fundamental or high mileage play that in my experience helps a person develop an awareness for the acceleration of the putter back and the coasting through that causes them to match up the acceleration and speed profiles I see from elite level putters. So coin carry is going to be the drill that I want you to do. And then lastly, as I mentioned, elite level putters hit the center of the face every time. That's what these tees here are for. So a tee gate is a good start. In fact, this entire setup that I've got right here is a really good start, but we're going to level it up. We're going to elevate one more level by controlling the vertical contact location in this way, the following way. We're going to take a water bottle and we're going to lay it down just on the outside of your tee gate. And then we're going to bring this alignment stick. It's going to sit on the water bottle. The alignment stick is hanging over the dead center of the golf ball. It's going to be a governor that says, I better not swing the club head too high, causing me to hit thin, because thin contact can create some bounce issues, therefore speed control issues. So we want to bring the putter relatively low to the ground. We don't want to bring the putter so low to the ground as to brush the grass, and so I sit a coin directly underneath where my putter is going to be sitting. So now the objective is for me to make back swings or back strokes and forward strokes, keeping the club head low enough, moving through those tees to hit the center horizontally and also the center vertically. Let's give it a shot. When you're concentrating on this, I'd suggest giving yourself just a number of putts the same distance. There we go, that's a 20-foot attempt. Let's do it one more time. I didn't touch the coin and I didn't touch the stick, and so therefore I know, given that I didn't touch the tees, that I hit the center, and then it rolled 20 feet. Blue, blue. I did the exact same thing. Didn't touch any of my obstructions right there. And so learning through avoiding obstructions is the learning tactic that we're leaning into now, or here. You're going to be able to do all of these things as you apply some practice. It's going to improve the form that you use to impact your great touch development. But now let's jump into the drills that I want you to practice once you've developed some proficiency in your form station. I'm going to give you 2 training drills. They're going to build in succession. The first one is foundational. It's called cluster sets. What you've got to be good at is, yes, clearly demonstrating the appropriate forms, those 3 core concepts, good touch control, but then we have to train consistency in seeing that we can create outcomes that are so similar that we can call them the same. So cluster sets is built around seeing yourself produce outcomes that are the same. So what does that mean? We're going to take 5 balls. I've got fake cups distributed 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50 feet away from me. The objective is putt 5 balls and cluster them within 2 foot of this first 10-foot cup. Why 2 feet? Because that's that lag distance I talked about at the front end that PGA Tour players, elite putters, are capable of always leaving their ball in proximity, assuming they missed that putt. So what we do is we just start hitting putts. And then I also recruit a learning tactic or a sense that is outside of 2 feet called error estimation or error detection, which is how soon after I hit the putt do I recognize whether I hit the putt with the appropriate force. So don't look up. I think I left it short by a foot. Voila, I left it short by about 8 inches. Now this is a very, very delicate putt. It's a very flat surface. It doesn't have too much break in it, but it is downhill when you do this yourself. I suggest what you do is you do it on a flat surface. I thought that one was going to be about a foot past, and indeed it would have if it didn't touch that ball. Please, when you're doing this, use cups or coins, fake cups or coins. Don't use tees, because if you use a tee, that's going to be pretty close, maybe a foot past. Indeed it was again. If you use tees, then it'll disrupt seeing. You won't be able to see the total distance that ball traveled. There's another one that's just passed. And voila. So what I've got right now is I've got 4 in a row. I'll put another one, a 5th one down the hill. So I get 5 consecutive where I've trained the range of motion, the acceleration, the contact location, and built the awareness of success required to roll the ball 10 feet on this distance. So the question you might be asking yourself right now is, should I do this before I go out and play a round of golf? The answer is yes, at some level. Maybe not with 5 balls, but with 3 balls perhaps. That way you're calibrated to that green speed on that given day. I'm going to now continue at 20 and then at 30. I'm not going to do 40 and 50, but I will advance into that next level training exercises, which is also a test. But let me finish my drill and then we'll pick things back up with our next exercise. So evaluating my 20, I've got 4 balls that are so similar we could call them the same, but I'm not calibrated at 20, so I do this again. My 5th ball was the speed, and I felt that happening as I was putting these, so clearly I need a little bit more work at 20. I'm going to do 20 again. Sorry, so I would do 20 again, but let me advance to 30 here, just as a demonstration. Yeah, perfect. 30 feet, here we go. Error estimation. I think it might be a little far. If not, it's pretty good. Yeah, super fast. That's got at least 2 feet of additional rollout that I'm not picking up on just yet. That should be better. It is. It should be a little further than the one before. It is. That's definitely going to be far. It is. And that should be good. Okay, so while I haven't put my fake cups in a location that kind of gives me a reference for I'm really hitting them online relative to the break, what I do have this time is I have 4 balls out of my 5, that being the first one, that are nice and tightly clustered relative tap-ins to my 30-foot cup. So repeat this exercise. When you get good at this, what does good mean? Your first go round, you can cluster your 5 balls around your target cup. Then you can graduate to the next exercise, which is called 1551, which does have a scoring component. Let me teach you that. 1551, we've taken a level up in our training of touch, and there's a testing or a scoring component to this. What is 1551? I've got a fake cup 15 feet away from my first ball. I've placed a tee 3 feet behind that fake cup. What I'm trying to do is I'm putting one ball and I'm trying to roll it over that fake cup. If I roll it over the fake cup and have a speed on it that doesn't take it past that tee, we're going to call that a birdie. Even if it touches any part of that cup, we're going to call it a birdie. If it doesn't touch the cup and it gets past the front edge of that fake cup but doesn't go past that tee, that's our par zone. If I'm either beyond the tee or short of the hole, we're going to call that a bogey until you get to 30 feet. Once you get to 30 feet, we're going to give you I'll give you a 2-foot grace. Once you get to 30 feet, I'm going to give you a 2-foot grace on the front side of the hole, right? We're only trying to lag these things in close proximity for that tap in. So from 15 to 27 feet, you get no grace on the front side. Your 3-foot zone is beyond the cup. Once you get to 30 feet and beyond, you've got 2 feet short, 3 feet long. Let's give it a shot, and I'll keep score as I'm going. Should be just past the cup. Okay, there's a par. There's a birdie, I'm 1 under. That might be short. Reach, reach. There's a bogey, I'm even. If you can clean the balls up as you go, that's ideal. There's another bogey, I'm now 1 over par. That should be pretty good. Sit a little. There's a par, so I'm 1 over par. Now I've got my grace zone. That should be long. Oh my goodness, sit. No, it wasn't going to be long. It was going to hit the cup. That's why we would clean the balls up. Good touch, a little out to the right. I'm even par. Maybe a little long or pretty good. Sit, sit, sit. Okay, very good. Even par. Also very good inside that gray zone. That might need to go. It certainly does. I'm 1 over par because that's more than 2 feet short. Well, that's really nice. So remembering all the while I've got that error detection going, I know immediately, or I try and guess immediately. That should be very good as well. Whether that putt is going to be nice and close to the hole, go in. Okay, back to even par. Final putt. And that should be good if not long. And it's probably going to hit another ball there. That's 1551. Give it a shot. Note it's a test. There is no scoring level, if you will, that I'm going to say you need to achieve, but clearly if you can play this even or under par, your touch is phenomenal, and you're going to eliminate 3 putts as a cause of any round-wrecking experience. It's when you stand into any putt of any length and have the confidence you're going to lag it up close to the hole for a tap-in, your stress level declines. This frees you up to make a great stroke, and you might surprise yourself and just make a few from long range.